It's a film with the most sensational entrance scene in modern film history, and the person doing the entering is entirely still. This is also the least cute meet cute. FBI rookie Clarice Starling is sent to interview notorious incarcerated serial killer Dr. Hannibal Lecter in his glass cell, to see if he can be intrigued, or persuaded, or teased, into helping the agency track down another psychotic murderer, nicknamed Buffalo Bill, who is still at large. We come upon Lecter, along with Clarice, as he stands ramrod straight with his impassive black stare and thin smile, as still as a reptile in his tight-fitting prison fatigues. It's a measure of the film's horribly potent entertainment value that we take this preposterous situation seriously as a toughly realist, almost procedural thriller, and genuflect to Lecter's fantastically preposterous intellectual attainments, making Woolworth-style pencil sketches of Clarice cuddling a lamb. With her sharp-faced intensity, Jodie Foster is outstanding as Clarice, the brilliant young operative who once made her mark as a student questioning the Bureau's civil rights record in the Hoover era, it seems, and for her pains got an ominous from her buzzard-like boss, Jack Crawford, played by Scott Glenn. Crawford is one of the many older men with an ambiguous, apparently romantic interest in Clarice. These include creepy Dr. Frederick Chilton, played by Anthony Heald, as hardly less weird than any of the imprisoned killers under his care, and of course Lecter himself. Anthony Hopkins' performance as Lecter is an uproarious technical masterpiece. All his stage work and accumulated Shakespearean savvy had been leading to this moment. The high-impact close-ups on his face that director Jonathan Demme creates are moments of climactic confrontation, intercut with close-ups on Clarice, and they land like crashes of timpani. His Dr. Lecter whimsically declares that he will help Clarice, but only in exchange for being allowed to psychoanalyze her, listen to her most intimate fears and memories, and, would exorcise them, violate them. Then it turns out that Buffalo Bill's most recent prisoner victim, Catherine Brooke Smith, is the daughter of a U.S. Senator, Ruth Martin Diane Baker, a brilliant narrative contrivance, which means that Lecter's expertise is now such that he must be treated as a kind of VIP prisoner and transported to Washington, facilitating the use of those extraordinary restraints and masks. Cellmates, Clarice confronts the monstrous Dr. Lecter. Photograph all-star Cinetextorian pictures, but how exactly does he reach Chilton's carelessly unguarded pen, extract the inner nib, keep it in his mouth until such time as he can use it to unlock handcuffs, which themselves would appear to have a very serious design flaw? Well, these feats give Lecter an almost supernatural edge on his enemies. For me, the strangest moment is when Senator Martin makes her TV broadcast statement to Buffalo Bill, repeatedly using Catherine's name and using old photos of her as a child, in an attempt to make him see her as a human being. It's a psychologically sophisticated approach that onlookers call smart. And yet the awful, unemphasized point is that it doesn't make the slightest difference. There are no scenes in which Buffalo Bill is shown ignoring her on the TV, or coldly or irritably snapping the TV off. He just never sees this broadcast, and the utter failure of this smart appeal is never remarked on. There is a grisly pessimism in this. After 26 years, The Silence of the Lambs holds up terrifically well. Would emerge stronger than ever are Clarice's flashback memories of her cop dad. Like Spielberg's Jaws, this movie evolves the style of Roger Corman, who is given a cameo, although if this was being made today, the writers might be a bit charier of venturing into trans issues with the egregious Buffalo Bill, and the misjudged condescension of Clarice saying that trans people are generally very passive. The bizarre autopsy scene is still horribly unnerving, with the participants putting a powder menthol smudge under their noses to stop the smell, freaking them out, and the roll film camera doing its periodic snap and uncanny, keening whine. And then of course there is the relationship of Hannibal and Clarice. He is the villain, and yet not the villain. He is her mentor, her undeclared lover, her opponent. The open-ended nature of his destiny sadly left things open for a disappointing franchise series, when Hannibal's final phone call and psychopimpernal disappearance before the closing credits was the perfect way to end it. It has bite.